إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله صلوات الله وسلامه عليه يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله حق تقاته ولا تموتن إلا وأنتم مسلمون يا أيها الناس اتقوا ربكم الذي خلقكم من نفس واحدة وخلق منها زوجها وبث منهما رجالا كثيرا ونساء واتقوا الله الذي تساءلون به والأرحام إن الله كان عليكم رقيبا يا أيها الذين آمنوا اتقوا الله وقولوا قولا سديدا يصلح لكم أعمالكم ويغفر لكم ذنوبكم ومن يطع الله ورسوله فقد فاز فوزا عظيما أما بعد فإن خير الكلام كلام الله وخير الهدى هدى رسول الله صلى الله عليه وسلم وشر الأمور محدثاتها وكل محدثة بدعة وكل بدعة ضلالة وكل ضلالة في النار. Today is the third Friday in this year's Ramadan 1433, and it marks the halfway point for the month. It's the responsibility of every one of us to look back at these last 15 days retrospectively and to evaluate and to re-evaluate how do you think you did during these 15 days. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wasallam explained to his companions, and they were the best of the people. Their minhaj was the best for the people. Their aqidah that they were upon was the most beneficial and the aslah and the aslam for the people. He told them sallallahu alayhi wa ala alihi wa sallam, laysa as-siyam an al-akli wa-shurb wa innama as-siyam an al-rath an al-lagwi wa-rath. He said real fasting is not that you just abandon your food and your drink, but the real fast of al-Islam is for a person to abandon speaking and behaving in a lewd fashion and speaking and behaving in an inappropriate fashion. So that means now that we're so far away from the time of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam and his companions radiyallahu anhum ajma'een in their era, this is the time of fitna and fasad. This is the time of a little bit of knowledge. This is the time where technology has opened up for every individual, even our elders who don't use the internet and they don't know Facebook and they don't know Twitter. The technology that's present today, the technology today, even causes them to be distracted from the reality of why we were created, and that's the ibaadh of Allah Ta'ala. And from the best ibadat is this fast of Ramadan. So you can rest assured that when we look back retrospectively on the 15 days, many people, except those who Allah made them ma'asumeen, mahfudeen, have wasted a lot of time, have not gotten the maximum out of fasting. There's still those of us who are watching those things that are not appropriate. Those of us who have relationships with other peoples that are not appropriate. Those of us who are missing the salah, who are not wearing hijab, who are falling into being disrespectful towards our parents. Those of us who are oppressive, eating oppression, eating what's haram, and so forth and so on. But all is not lost, because InshaAllah we have today, and hopefully we have 14 more days, bi'idhnillahi ta'ala, to take advantage of what is in front of us concerning this hunt. The people of Ahlul Hadith, from the ulama in the past and just the regular people, they took the month of Ramadan as an opportunity to raise their level of ibadat, to raise the amount of sadaqah that they give, to raise the number of raka'at that they pray in this month, to raise the number of days that they pray, and to raise the number of ayat from the book of Allah that they read. Again, ikhwani, even the revert from amongst you, the one who can't read Arabic, concerning the Quran, if these 15 days have gone by and you didn't make a conscious effort to increase your recitation of the Quran, your memorization of the Quran, your contemplation of the Quran, then there's a problem with your fast. You're not fasting the fast that the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam brought to the people. You're not fasting the fast that Allah Ta'ala legislated on this ummah. The fast that is coupled with the recitation of the Quran and the recommitment to the book of Allah. From the ibadat in this month, that I want to ask every father from amongst you, how many from you sat down in this month to listen to your son read the book of Allah, even if it was just Qul Huwallahu Ahad or Surah Al-Fatiha? How many people sat to listen to their daughter? He read the Quran to his wife. She read what she knew from the Quran to the husband. The companions and the people of Ahlul Hadith. May Allah be pleased with all of the companions, and may Allah put us on the way of the ulama al-hadith. Even the ulama al-hadith from our contemporaries, before the people came to this country from Pakistan, those ulama of Ahlul Hadith, those ulama were on another level in terms of the commitment to the book of Allah. You find that the scholars of Al-Islam, Ahlul Hadith, and other than them, there's no book that they took care of more than the book of Allah Azza wa Jal, in terms of servicing the book and making it easy and accessible to the layman from this ummah. So that the Somali kid, the Asian kid, the one who comes from China, the one who is a revert and he only speaks English, the ulama of Islam, they have made it easy for this ummah to be connected to the book of Allah. But as Allah Ta'ala mentioned in the Quran, the Prophet will come sallallahu alaihi wasallam, وَقَالَ الرَّسُولُ يَا رَبِّ إِنَّ قَوْمِ اتَّخَذُوا هَذَا الْقُرْآنَ مَهْجُورًا. He's going to say that my people abandon the Quran. Abandoning the Quran means many things. One meaning of abandoning the Quran is not using the Quran to do shifa on yourself. It's free of charge. That the individual who is suffering from something, I saw just now one of our elder brothers, I hope he's not fasting. He needed 2 people on either side to help him to the masjid. A sheikhun kabir. That individual, he's weak, he needs strength, he looks like he has some ailments, as many of us do. But the person in the month of Ramadan didn't take the book of Allah to read it on his knee, to read it on his neck, to read it on that part of his body that hurts him. The Nabi will complain about that, because if the people truly believed in the Quran that it is a shifa and a rahmah as Allah mentioned, then they would use it, so he would complain. Another meaning of the people who have abandoned the Quran is they don't judge by the book of Allah. When it comes to proving the permissibility of making dua to the Nabi, the people don't use the Quran to support that and to prove that. When it comes to the issue of proving whatever we want to prove, we look for other than the book of Allah to prove that. We look towards democracy, we look towards what our sheikh said, we look towards what the madhab said, we look towards what the village said, we look towards what our culture said. As for looking towards the book of Allah to determine that's okay or not okay, that's the last thing in the saf. So that means the people have abandoned the Quran. But what we want to focus on here today, ikhwani, is to encourage all of you to take what remains of these days, starting with today, Friday, to connect yourselves to the book of Allah, to exhaust the effort that the Muslim has been given in terms of his power to read the book of Allah and to listen to the book of Allah in this month. As I mentioned, this hadith, this masjid, as you know, is a masjid of Ahlul Hadith. And we have many of our elders and many of the people who understand and comprehend the meaning of that and the importance of that. But some of our children who are connected to us from Ahlul Hadith, some of the Muslims who claim Al-Islam and they are Muslims, don't understand what is it to be Ahlul Hadith. Is it another group like Jamaat al-Islami or the Ikhwan al-Muslimin? Is that another group? Ahlul Hadith is a group like... La, Ahlul Hadith is simply following the hadith of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam, so that we can know how to fast. So that the fast is not left up to you or I just to determine what it is and we go in it and we mess it up, we muck it up. Because we don't have knowledge, because we're weak, because we follow our desires. If it was left up to the desires of the people, there's a problem. Umar radiallahu anhu became angry with some of the people during this time. He said, كيف تختلف هذه الأمة ونبيها واحد وقبلتها واحدة. How is it possible that this ummah has ikhtilaf the way they have an ikhtilaf? And their Nabi is one, and the Qibla that they pray to is one. Those are two signs that they should be unified. Doesn't mean that they can't have some differences in the way they understand some issues, but this ummah, we disagree in every issue. Who is Allah? Where is Allah? What does He do? What does He not do? Who is the Nabi? Where is the Nabi? What did He do and what did He not do? Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. We have ikhtilaf in issues like that. Who is the Nabi? He's the Nur of Allah. Who is the Nabi? He's the partner with Allah because he knows the unseen. Who is the Nabi? He's the one you can make dua to and he will answer your dua. He'll go to Allah to get your dua answered. Simple, basic, fundamental issues. Ummah, why is it that this ummah has ikhtilaf? Abdullah ibn Abbas, he said, Ya Amirul Mu'mineen, as you know, the Quran was revealed on us, radiyallahu anhum. And when it was revealed on us, we read it. And we understood why it was revealed and where it was revealed, and we practiced it. He said, now these people came and they're reading the Quran, but they don't know why it was revealed. They don't know where it was revealed, and they don't have knowledge about it. So as a result of that, each one of them gives his opinion. And when people give their opinion, they're going to have ikhtilaf. And when they have ikhtilaf, they're going to start fighting. As a result of abandoning the book of Allah Azza wa Jal. From the people of the past that I think everybody has heard of is Al-Imam Abu Dawood, the famous scholar of Ahlul Hadith who wrote the book, the Sunan and the Hadith. The Sunan of Abu Dawood is the third most authentic book in the dunya. Sahih Bukhari, Sahih Muslim, the Sunan of Al-Imam Abu Dawood. He had a son called Abdullah, one of the great prolific ulama of his time. When the boy became big, he became of age, 18 years old. He said to his father, give me permission, I want to travel to Al-Baghdad to meet Al-Imam Ahmed. He never traveled yet. I want to go to Al-Baghdad. I want to meet the Imam of Ahl Sunnah. I want to meet the Imam of Ahl Hadith, Al-Imam Ahmed. The father said, no, no. I want to test you in the Quran's recitation. I want to make sure, how are you with that Quran? He started testing his son, giving him ayat, start here, in here, and so forth and so on. The boy knew what he was doing. The father said, okay, now I want you to lead the people 3 times in the month of Ramadan and make the khatam of the Quran. After he did that, his father allowed him to start traveling through the earth. Ahlul Hadith give preference and precedence to the book of Allah. The normal Muslim gives preference and precedence to the book of Allah because that's the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Hudayf ibn al-Yaman radiyallahu anhu said, أن الأمانة نزلت في جذر قلوب الرجال ثم تعلم القرآن ثم تعلم السنة. The Quran or Iman, faith came down. Faith came down and it entered into the inner recesses of the hearts of the people radiyallahu anhum. After they became Muslims, they learned the Quran and then they learned the Sunnah. So the point here, Ikhwani, is the best thing that we can preoccupy ourselves with in this month and out of this month in our lives is the book of Allah. خَيْرُكُمْ مَنْ تَعَلَّمَ الْقُرْآنَ وَعَلَّمَ. The best of you is the one who learns the Quran and teaches it. The meaning of that, it doesn't mean the one who is the Hafid, he's the best. It doesn't mean that. It means out of all of the sciences that you can learn, out of all of the books that you can read, out of all of the books that you can memorize and preoccupy yourself with, the best book is the Quran. And then to teach that book. And then to teach that book. So the people of the past from Ahl al-Hadith, from those companions, like Anas ibn Malik, he used to teach the Tabi'een. And from the Tabi'een was a man by the name of Qatada Ibn Di'ama ad-Dawsi, from the ulama of the Tabi'een. He said that Anas ibn Malik and the rest of the companions, they used to tie the legs up of their students, the little kids, to keep them chained so that they would read the Quran. Now the kafir, the one who doesn't believe in Allah, the one who doesn't know how to clean the najasa on himself, the one doesn't know where he comes from and where he's going, he comes with his opinion and he says, they used to tie the kid up. That's oppression. Where are the rights of the kid? But the Muslim, he says, La wallahi, you, the non-Muslim who doesn't know how to clean himself from najasa, your opinion doesn't count. Those companions tying the kids up did not mean that they oppressed them. Didn't mean they were tied up all day, every day. Didn't mean anything other than they wanted to show those children the importance of sitting down and memorizing that Quran. Not like the people today who want to listen to the opinion and be affected by the opinion of the kuffar who have najasa in their clothes. So we leave our children, we give them freedom. So in the month of Ramadan, in this masjid, in the month of Ramadan, in this masjid, the police come to our masjid 3 nights in a row. 3 nights in a row. Why? Why do they come to the masjid? Because the fathers are trying to bring their children to the masjid. Or maybe the children tell their mothers and their fathers at home, I'm going to the masjid. When the salat of Taraweeh starts, they go out and they start making fitna and fasad in the neighborhood of the Muslims, being a fitna. When something happens, they call the police, the neighbors. The Muslim kids run to the masjid, and the non-Muslim kuffar police, they want to come into the masjid to look for the kid who stole the lady's purse, who stole her pocketbook, her money. They want to look for the one who did some craziness on Alam Rock Road. This is the condition, ikhwani. So the call today and the encouragement today is, there are some days that remain, inshallah, or at least this day, inshallah, of Ramadan. Turn back to the book of Allah. In the month of Ramadan, you have to ask yourself, what did I do? What did I do? How many soap operas did I watch in Arabic or in Asian language or whatever? How many of those did I watch? How many men did I see running around on the track in the Olympics? How many of them did I see swimming with no clothes on? How much time did I waste in that thing when it comes Yawm al-Qiyamah? I'm going to regret it because now I know it's no benefit. And Yawm al-Qiyamah, that real yaqeen is going to come. You wasted your time. We wasted our time. So the Sawm of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is that in the month of Ramadan, as we all know, we have fasted Ramadan 22 times in our lives and more and a little less. I'm not going to tell you anything here today that you never heard, Abdullah. It's just an issue of commitment, ya ibaadh. It's just an issue of fighting off the whispers of a shaitan and subduing the desires. That's all it is. It's nothing new. No angel is going to come down and hand to me some paper with some special thing that you never heard, that I never read, that I never heard. All of us. It's just an issue of commitment. It's an issue of organizing your time. It's an issue of becoming a little bit antisociable with people who are wasting your time in the month of Ramadan. The Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam read the Quran once every month in Ramadan. He fasted 9 times. 9 times. Ramadan was made an obligation upon him in the 2nd year after the Hijrah. He lived 10 years. He fasted 9 times every year. Each month, Jibril would go over the whole Quran concerning what was revealed up until that point. And then the last year when he died, he went over the Quran with Jibril 2 times. The scholars of Islam said that at this time, the 15th of Ramadan, the Nabi already completed the Quran in the last year of his life. Now he's going to go into the 2nd half of Ramadan to complete the Quran twice. Where have you arrived in the recitation of the Quran? I didn't get out of Juz Amma. I didn't even try. I didn't get out of Baqarah. I didn't even begin. That's where I am. He read the Quran twice. His Khalifa, Uthman ibn Affan, radiyallahu anhu, what was collected by the Imam ibn Kathir in his book Fadail al-Quran. Al-Imam Abu Ubaid from the ulama of Al-Hadith, Fadail al-Quran. They said that Uthman ibn Affan read the Quran in 1 rak'ah in Surah Al-Witr. And we're going to come back to that, inshaAllah. 1 rak'ah in Salat Al-Witr. All of the Quran in that 1 rak'ah. The companion of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the month of Ramadan, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, from the ulama of the Quran, one of the 4 people the Nabi said, take the Quran from this man. He read the Quran 3 times in the month of Ramadan. First 10 days he read the Quran. Second 10 days he read the Quran. Last 10 days he read the Quran. 3 times. That's what the people of Al-Hadith from the companions were upon. Tamim al-Dari radiyallahu anhu, one of the ulama of the Quran, the illustrious companion who saw the Dajjal when he was tied up. He saw the Dabba who led him to the Dajjal. He was a Christian and he embraced Al-Islam, and he was not a slouch when it came to the Quran. He read the Quran in 7 days in the month of Ramadan. 7 days in the month of Ramadan. The companion of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, Ubay ibn Ka'b, from the ulama of the Quran. Tamim al-Dari, the man I just mentioned, when Umar put the people in one Jama'ah, he put Tamim al-Dari as one of the imams. He was from the ulama. Ubay ibn Ka'b, he was from the ulama of the Quran. The Nabi, the human being, the Bashar sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. When he would make salat, sometimes he would make mistakes. He would forget the ayat. The ayat would become difficult for him. He's tired, whatever, he's a human being. And no one would correct him. Having humility, being afraid. They didn't know, so they wouldn't correct him. After the salat, he would turn around and say, Ya Ubay, Ya Aba Munzir, hey, Ubay ibn Ka'b, did you pray with us or you came late? He said, I prayed with you, Ya Rasulullah. He said, when I was making those mistakes, why didn't you correct me? He didn't say that to Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali. He said that to Ubay. He's from the ulama of the Quran. The man used to read the Quran in 8 days in Ramadan. So the shahid of all that kalam is, this is what the companions were upon. Someone may come and say, but didn't the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam tell us in an authentic hadith, لا يفقه من قرأه في أقل من ثلاثة? He doesn't understand the Quran who read it in less than 3 days. Allahumma naam. That's what the Nabi said. And we shouldn't go against this hadith. But when we saw that those companions had a pattern of reading the Quran in less than those 3 days or 7 days, we understand what? That in the month of Ramadan, there's an exception. In the month of Ramadan, you have to do more. In the month of Ramadan, Allah is Ghafur Rahim, no doubt. So the person is praying the Taraweeh and he's tired. He doesn't want to get burnt out, but it's really a waswas of a shaitan. Shaitan comes to him and say, hey, Allah is Ghafur Rahim. Ma yuridullahu bikum al-yusr. Yuridullahu bikum al-yusr. Allah wants it easy for you. Don't go to the masjid tonight. Don't do it. La, in the month of Ramadan, you have to make more jihad. In the month of Ramadan, you have to push yourself further in your culture, the Asian culture, and wake up and be mature. I have to be sensitive to the people that I'm talking to, but we have to stop being babies. I'm not putting the Asian culture down. There's a problem in Africa with Africans. And your culture in this country is part of the culture. Not to make facilities for the women so they don't have a place to pray. In the month of Ramadan, it's better for the woman all the time to pray in her house. That's better. It's more rewarding. Even if she went to Mecca, it's better, more rewards in her house. But because she's in Mecca, because she's in Medina, because it is Ramadan, you have to bring her to the masjid. She's not going to hear the Quran in her house. She's not going to read the Quran in her house. So she comes for the barakah that comes as a result of listening to the book of Allah. As for those people, for the tabi'een and the way they used to read the Quran, فَحَدِّثْ وَلَا حَرَجْ. As for the person, he doesn't know how to read the Quran. I'm going to revert to this religion. I'm not prolific with the Quran. I don't know this Quran. It's not my lisan. Do I have an excuse? I don't have an excuse. Because in the month of Ramadan, from what we see from the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam is listening to the Quran more in the month of Ramadan. We sit there and we listen to the soap operas. We sit there and we listen to the music. We sit there and we listen to the kalam of the people. We listen to that. But when it comes to the book of Allah, la, although it's benefit. وَإِذَا قُرِئَ الْقُرْآنِ فَاسْتَمِعُوا لَهُ وَأَنصِتُوا لَعَلَّكُمْ تُرْحَمُونَ. If the Quran is recited, shut up, be quiet and listen to it in the hopes that you will have rahmah. In the recitation of the Quran is rahmah. My little son, come here. Bilal, Ahmed, come here, sit down. Just read for me Surah Al-Fatiha. And he reads it once. Read the other one, read the other. That is better for us than listening to the Qila wa Qal. He's this, he's that. That one mubtadi', al-jahr wa ta'dil, she stole this, he did that, he went over there. That's not going to benefit you. That's going to harm you yawm al-qiyamah. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, as you all know, he said to Abdullah ibn Mas'ud, Iqra alayya al-Quran. Hey, Ibn Mas'ud, read the Quran. He said, I read it to you, Ya Rasulullah. It was revealed on you. He said, Inni ashtahi an asma'hu min ghayri. I desire to hear it from other than me. Another narration, I love to hear it from other than me. He said, I started reading Surah An-Nisa. I came to the ayah, فَإِذَا جِئْنَا مِن كُلِّ أُمَّةٍ بِشَهِيدًا وَجِئْنَا بِكَ عَلَى هَؤُلَاءِ شَهِيدًا. قال صلى الله عليه وسلم حسبك فنظرت إليه قال ابن مسعود فإذا عيناه تذرفان. I came to that ayat of Surah An-Nisa. And how is it going to be when we bring forth Yawm al-Qiyamah to every nation a messenger who's going to be a witness over them? And we bring you, Ya Muhammad, over these people as a witness. The Nabi started crying. Maybe one of the reasons he cried, the seriousness of Yawm al-Qiyamah. One of the reasons that he cried is that he loves the companions. And he loves this ummah. He's Ra'uf. He's Rahim on the ummah. And he knows when he comes Yawm al-Qiyamah, most of them are going to fall short of the mark when it comes to that book that he just heard. Most of them, if they were asked in their behavior, what do you prefer, the Quran other than the Quran? Their lisan may say, I prefer the Quran, but our actions indicate other than the Quran, other than the Quran. The Nabi was waiting for his wife, our mother Aisha radiallahu anha. In the month of Ramadan, some people, they curse the companions and they hate Aisha and they give lessons and talks cursing Aisha in the month of Ramadan. Wallahi, that individual is fasting, but that's not the fast of al-Islam. To curse the wife of the Nabi and to hate her in Ramadan, outside of Ramadan. But what's wrong with you? Where's the taqwa in Ramadan that you're supposed to develop? That's a clear proof, ikhwani. If Allah makes a person blind, he's in trouble. He's cursing Aisha in the month of Ramadan. Aisha said, the Nabi was waiting for me to come home, but I was late. When I finally arrived home, he being her husband, responsible for her, he said, where were you at? She said, Ya Rasulullah, I heard a recitation that held me mesmerized. I couldn't move. And I just listened to the recitation. It had me in his grip. And I just was there from one of your companions. She said, I never heard a recitation like that before. The Nabi, what did he do? He said, take me to him. She took him to the masjid and he was still reading. The Nabi listened to his recitation. He said, that's Salam, the free slave of Abu Hudhayfa. Alhamdulillah, alladhi ja'ala fi ummati mithla hadha. All praises to Allah, who put in my ummah someone like that. Someone who, if a person doesn't understand the Quran, his voice is beautiful, his recitation is beautiful, so he's more inclined, the regular Muslim, to listen to that than to watch the Olympics. The one who watches the Olympics, something is wrong with his aql. Something is wrong. To watch a man in his underwear, jumping in the water, going 100 meters, and you think you don't have something better to do than that. To watch a group of men, black, white, green, orange, German, whatever, running 100 meters in tight clothes, and you're sitting there with your wife saying, whoa, wow, look at that. Something's wrong with that mentality. The reason why? It's what the Nabi was afraid of, sallallahu alaihi wasallam. He said, wallahi, mal faqra akhsha alaykum, walakin akhsha alaykum ad-dunya. I'm not afraid of poverty for you people. He said, wallahi, poverty, the one who is impoverished, he looks up to Allah, to the sky, and he says, Allah, you're the ghani, you're the razaq, and he makes dua. Poverty makes a person humble. He won't appreciate the money until he knew poverty. He said, what I'm afraid of for you people is for the dunya and tubsata alaykum, that the dunya is opened up for you and you chase it the way the other people chased it, and it makes you incognizant, not aware, the way it made the other people aware. Ummatul Islam, the month of Ramadan and what remains, the Quran of the Quran. Make an effort with the Quran. If you can't read a whole juz, read what's easy for you, like today, Surah Al-Kahf. Who's going to spend fi sabilillah from his time? Just stay in the masjid. Don't leave the masjid. You leave the masjid, technology is going to get you. Shaitan's going to get you. Stay in the masjid. I don't have time for that kalam. I don't have time for that kalam. I'm just going to try. Surah Al-Kahf, Surah Yasin, Surah Al-Baqarah, the last juz of the Quran, whatever you can do. The Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam was passing by the house of Ubay ibn Ka'b, Abu Musa al-Ash'ari, from the ulama of the Ummah. He heard him reading the Quran, the Nabi stopped, and he just stood there and he listened till the man finished, and then he left. He saw the man at Salatul Fajr the next day. He told him sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, لو رأيتني البارحة أستمع لقراءتك لقد أوتيت مزمارا من مزامير آل داود. If you would have only saw me, ya Aba Musa al-Ash'ari, I was listening to your recitation last night. Verily you have been given one of the flutes of Dawood, when Dawood used to read the Psalms, the Zabur. He had a beautiful voice. Now the crazy person comes and says, look, the Nabi said he was given a flute. It goes to show that music is permissible. That doesn't mean that. It means that the man had a nice voice in his recitation. Ummatul Islam, let us take the opportunity, inshallah, to connect ourselves to the Book of Allah more during this month. Sit with your families, with your wife, with your children. You yourself, read the Book of Allah. أقول قولي هذا واستغفر الله لي ولكم ونسأل الله تعالى التوفيق والسداد. Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalam ala rasulillah. Now I know some people have to go to work. We pass 2 o'clock, and although the person is hearing, and I don't mean to go over the time, we pass 2 o'clock, some people say, yes, pass the time. And I'm sensitive to that. But why aren't we as having the hirs when it comes to our time and wasting in the things that we're doing at the expense of the Quran? Why don't we have that hirs and we say, oh, I've been watching this for too long. I've been doing this for too long. When it comes to the dunya, many times, this is Bani Adam, when it comes to the dunya, we're sensitive. I'm going to lose my money. I'm going to do this. If a person works all month long and he went to get his money, and the people say, nope, we're only going to give you half. Nope, we're only going to give you a quarter. Nope, you don't get anything. I'm going to protest. I'm going to take him to court, and I may even get violent with him. But when it comes to my ajr and my ajur with Allah yawm al-qiyamah, I'm fasted, but I'm making shirk, so I don't get any reward. I'm fasted and I'm fighting, so I don't get any reward. I'm fasted, I'm disrespectful to my parents, I don't get any reward. I'm fasted and I'm drinking khamr. I'm fasted and I'm eating khat. I'm fasted and I'm sitting in the place watching football game and watching this and watching that. I'm fasted and I'm sitting in the cafe playing chess in the month of Ramadan. When it comes to that, it's okay, it's no problem. 5 minutes, we pass the time, 6 minutes. This is the month, ikhwani, of being stingy with your time and utilizing it. This masjid, as you all know, is a masjid that we're trying to build it and extend it. Right now we have people between us and the tent. We have people in the tent, and we don't have the space to accommodate everybody. This masjid is in need of your assistance. It's in need of you in the month of Ramadan to increase your sadaqah fi sabilillah. I'm asking you, Abdullah, and I know people ask you all month, give. But that's the sunnah of the Nabi sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, especially in the month of Ramadan. He used to give more. So we're asking all of you, even the youngsters, even the women, give today, inshallah, to start to dig into this debt that we owe and to start to get on with the extension that the brothers are trying to complete in this masjid. We ask you that for your own selves, and we ask you that by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Give fi sabilillah in order to help the situation with completing the structure of the new masjid. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us for all of our mistakes that passed in this Ramadan. And may Allah ta'ala now hold us accountable for not being shakirin. May Allah ta'ala bring all of us back to our rushd and our aql and put us on the way of Ahlul Hadith. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make it easy for us to understand the importance of putting forth the best foot in what remains of the month of Ramadan, and may He not hold us accountable and responsible for all of the mistakes. Aqim as-salat, yarhamakumullah. Ahmed, Somali.